Hello again everyone. So we're going to do something a little bit different. So if you know somebody who loves DIY or anything like that, this will be absolutely right up your street. Okay, so we're actually going to use the framed oval for this one. You can see we've got some lovely little techniques going on with a little drippy paint and all sorts of things on here. So I've gone ahead and we've put the oval on the front of our card where we want it. And then I'm going to turn this over and we're going to do the embossing from the back to raise this panel up at the front. So just rub around, and you should just be able to see this indentation here where we've been rubbing so that we can actually follow this then with our ball tool. Just makes life a lot easier. Okay, so all the way around. If you go off, don't worry. It's not the end of the world, it's not going to show really from the front. And I'm just going to sort of reinforce that with a slightly smaller ball tool. Okay, so once we've done that, our card's then raised and it's nice and flush with the front of the card. So the next thing we're going to do is add a little shelf in. So somewhere where our little paints and things are going to be sitting. So I'm going to go about here. And then we're just going to use a little bit of brown. So nothing too dark. And again, we're just going to blend off the edge. And we're also going to use a little bit of the alphabet bunting in here, which is fantastic. If you want to personalise something, it's absolutely brilliant for that because it comes with 2 or 3 different buntings, but also you've got full alphabet and numbers and things in there as well. So fabulous for personalisation. Okay, so there we've got our little shelf in. I'm just going to take this off. If you want to, you can add a little bit. You could even have some fun, make your own wallpaper using some of the stamps. But I'm just going to use a little bit of blue just in the background here, just to add a little bit of colour in the back so it's just not completely white. But say you wanted some flowery wallpaper, you could just use one of the little flowers from the set and just keep it pale and just add some colour and some little flowered wallpaper in the background. So just turn this as you work. And because we've pushed this cardstock into this stencil, it's very unlikely that even with the rubbing that I'm doing here, that you're actually going to get any of that going underneath. So we just want a nice bit of colour there like that. So I'm not going to do it too dark. So now we're going to start to add our little bits and pieces. So the first thing I'm going to add in is our little paint roller. So we're going to ink this up in 3 colours. The first colour being the palest, which is the grey. So I'm just going to catch this bit because this bit will be metal. And if you want to, you can just take off that excess there. I'm going to put a little bit of blue on for the paint on the roller. So you'll see I'm always going with the palest ink first. And that way you're not going to make a mess. If you do get any blue on the grey bit, don't worry about it because at the end of the day, it's just paint. Or it's supposed to be paint. So you can really get away with it on this one. So a little bit of darker blue on the handle here. And then what we're going to do is just stamp this in this corner here. So we're actually going to stamp off the edge of the stencil here as well. So you may be a little bit of a harder push just in this bit where the stamp is going to meet the stencil. And just make sure you've walked your fingers all the way around. If you do miss a little bit where your stencil is, again, not the end of the world. So there we've got our 3 coloured little roller. And we're going to do the same with the paint. So we're going to do a nice paint pot here. Now you can have some fun with these. You can tip the paint pots up and have paint pouring out of them. You know, using some sort of dimensional pearl as paint. So you can really play around with this and do some fantastic things. So let's add a little bit of extra colour. Let's just go around with a little bit of a darker pink. And then we're going to add this just directly underneath the roller. So just about there. Okay, so there's our little paint pot. And then we've got another paint pot, so I'm just going to add this one in as well. And again, we'll use 2 colours. So let's use the pink that we just used. So you can actually use people's favourite colours on here as well. So that would be fun. If you know what colours they're like. So all the way around with a darker blue. And then we'll stamp this one just next to it here. Okay, so you see here I'm using the lids off my ink pads as well, which I use as blocks, which are very handy. So it saves you quite a bit of money there. But anything bigger than that would obviously need to go on a block. And if you're using the flowers and things like that, again, it's so much easier if you've got the little rods. So we're just going to use a little bit of the silver. This is a smaller paintbrush again, a little bit trickier, but don't worry too much about it. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So just keep going down until you see you've got all the handle on there like that. And again, make sure that you're using your palest one first. Okay. And then we're going to use the big brush now. So the same thing applies. Silver bit first where the metal would be. And again, if you do want to take some of that off, feel free. And then we're going to use a little bit of the brown for the bristles. Okay. And then we're going to put a paler blue handle on this one. Okay, so we've got our 3 colours. And then we're just going to add this up here like this. Okay, so what we'll do is peel this away. And then I'm going to put some of the bunting in the corner. So we're going to go from about here, and what I'm going to try and do as well is get this so it actually goes outside of the card up here as well. So let's stamp the bunting first, and we can actually personalise this, so I'm just going to put Dad in this one. But again, it can be name, it can be anything you want to say. So let's just use this pencil line as a guide. So I'm just going to follow, just roughly. If you do this faint enough as well, you won't actually need to worry about rubbing this out. So I'm going to sort of incorporate some of the colours that we've used already. And again, stamp off the edge so it gets a more natural look like that. So let it go off the edge. So take off the excess. And let's just do another blue. But what I'm going to do is just take off some of the colour so it's a little bit paler. And then we'll stamp that one there like that. And again, let's do another pink, and we'll take the colour off that one first. So we get a paler impression. Just so it sort of looks like it's behind those brushes. And also we want to be able to stamp the names in there as well, so we don't want it too dark. So just like that. Let's have a bit of dark blue now. So let's go about here. So again, we've had to stamp off the edge there, but honestly, don't worry about that. Okay, so before we do anything else, I'm just going to make sure that we get rid of some of this ink that is just sitting on top of the stencil, like that. Just so we don't get our fingers in that and create a bit of a mess later. Okay, so I'm going to take this bit off here. I'm going to leave the little frame in place. And then what we're going to do is just carry on where we would have left off here. So just about like that, so we know roughly where we're following. And then we can just carry on with our little bit of bunting. So again, you want it to look natural, so kind of take it to where you think the last one would have finished off. You might only get a little bit of the bunting, but again, don't worry about it. It's more important that it looks more natural. So let's get rid of some of that. A little bit of the peony. And then again, because we've only got a bit there, let's just use that up. So do a second generation stamp there. And then we'll just finish off at this side here. And just go off the edge like that. So we're following that little line. And then we're just going to take the fine liner and we're just going to join up those little dots. Okay. So using the alphabet that comes with it as well, I'm going to make this stand out. So what we'll do, we'll just use the black for this. This is just a little bit of archival black. And let's start here. So just inside that bunting. But again, just imagine the sort of personalisation you could do with this. There's so many things you could do. Okay. So we've done that, but what I want to do is emboss the circle around the outside. So I'm going to pop this one back. So just put it back into place on top of the other stencil there, like that. Okay. And then what we can do is lift this one off here. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of all of that adhesive. And then what we're going to do is turn this back over, and we're just going to emboss from the back. So again, you just want to find that little ridge here, all the way around. So as soon as you rub on this, you can start to see the actual shape coming through. And then we're just going to pick that up with the embossing tool. So that wax paper just helps that tool just glide nice and evenly and easily over the top of your actual cardstock. So if you wanted to add some colour on there as well, you could do that. You could put your centre panel back and you could stamp over it, whatever it is you want to do. They're very, very versatile. So let's just take this off now. And that gives us our lovely embossed frame going all the way around. And it looks like now we've got this bunting going underneath that frame. So you can do some wonderful things with these. So the fun bit for me is adding in the little bits of detail. So what we're going to do is make the roller look like it's wet. So we're just going to put a little bit of glossy accents on here to give us a wet roller. And we're just going to put a little bit of paint on here, and we'll add a few little drips. So when you've done that, if you just take a pin and just pull through here, that gives you your little paint drops. And there we go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.